Now, I drew this before the beginning of this video because I didn't want to waste time. I noticed that my videos are going too long. They're going longer than I want them to. So to avoid that, I had to do some chunky work before I do some things. Perfect. So I have a structure that I drew right here. It was going down until here, went all the way up, came back to some flip zone, somehow, went, came back, broke out. Let's do this. So we have it right here. Something is on that's not supposed to be on right here. Yeah, I think now I mean. So we have it right here. We have break of structure, another break of structure, another break of structure. Now for each time structure breaks, it means I'm still going up. So hope for me. Hope based on analysis. Now, a structural low should get somewhere, right? Because price cannot just come back and create a low. Because if it was so, I would expect it to come as low as this, which is to this flip zone right here. But if it's going lower than this, then there should be a reason. Price should be going somewhere. Now, there are two types of highs and lows. I said these are structural highs because these are the highs that I'm looking at with my naked eyes and they are actually indicating a structure. Now, there are other structures that I would consider some sort of like invalidation. What's that? Let's look into it. When it came back like this, it did not come back in a straight line. It actually came back like that last high that formed this low right here before all the way this take up. So I want to call this an invalidation. Let's name this an invalidation. Let's name this invalidation. I apologize for the noises that might show up in these videos. We have children playing in the neighborhood. So yeah. Invalidation right there. So the same applies here. Why didn't it just come here and it had to go all the way down? It had to, if I will mention in which circumstances price will come to an invalidation or in which circumstances price will just come to these structural zones, then push all the way up. When price dropped all the way here, maybe a wick showed up to this invalidation. Now, I will try to define what is an invalidation in an actual time price chart. So let's do that. So this is the chart that we looked at the last time, and I remember marking up structural highs, which is right here, right, which is also another structural high right here, because it's a high that I can clearly see that. Another structural high, maybe right here, but for the sake of neatness, I wasn't gonna put it there, but it is a structural high, right? We had another one right here. Beautiful structural high. Now, when price broke out of a high, right, and it came back, right, created a structural low right here, right, it created a structural low, then created another structural high all the way, then it came back to a certain, it comes back to a certain zone which we call an invalidation. Invalidation is this high right here, which was actually broken out, or the last high before the structural low. Pardon that. Yes, it's correct. The last high before the structural low, this high right here, which actually formed a structural low. Now, if we take into consideration that area we just want to take into consideration right there. Let's do this right there. Now, this is invalidation, and this is structure. Structural high. So we have a structural high. For the sake of neatness, I'll try to just name it structure, because I see that text is going too long there. So we have structure, we have invalidation. Now, sometimes the structure is the invalidation. Why? Because it is the last low that bring the lowest low, right? The previous high that bring the lowest low. But in this case, no, it's not. Why? Because this is the structural low. Now we have the high that the previous high or the last high before that structural low. So we see market going all the way up. When it broke this, we both hope that we're still going upwards, but we want somewhere where market will actually come to sort of like validate, right? So within this invalidation right here, that's where price actually came right here. And this is where we're going to get our entries in the lower time frame. And I'll show some of the methods that I used to enter pending orders, which are perfect, but perfect and safe pending orders. But there are some candlestick patterns that we may also want to take into consideration in a lower time frame, because this is a 4-hour chart. In a lower time frame, thus we are going to take entries based on that. We see market price going all the way up to strike above a structural high. So this is what? Structural high. The moment we have a structure, now we see it being broken down and market starts coming back. Where is it going? The high that forms the previous low right here. We have it. And we take it into consideration. For the sake of neatness, I'm gonna just put INV because I want to see candles. Or I'm gonna write it at the right side there so that I want to see reaction right here. So you see invalidation, and we see market price clearly coming back to that and pushing all the way up. This is happening in all that zone of flip zone. You see right here, a flip zone, that's where we have this invalidation. Right here, a flip zone, that's where we have this invalidation. Look here, a flip zone, and where is the invalidation? It's supposed to be right here, because this right here is the low that actually forms the lowest low. An invalidation right here. And we haven't seen price coming back to this. So what becomes of that? It becomes a point of attention. Somehow, I want to anticipate that whenever price comes here, some sort of reaction can happen based on what I'm going to see now in the lower time frame. I could say the pending order if I want to, but again, there are different ways in which we take entries. Now, I'm just gonna go down with this 2 examples for neatness sake. I'm gonna remove this for the sake of this video actually. And we want to pay attention to this invalidation, this structure, this invalidation, this structure. So we're gonna drop to a lower time frame. Let's take this back to the center, and let's go to a 1-hour chart. And let's just to look. This is for the sake of observation only. So that structural high is right here. We have that invalidation right here, and this is where our entry was supposed to look like. Perfect zone, a perfect clean zone, the cleanest entry. A pending order could just activate it right away. If you want to wait for some sort of confluence, you'd wait for this change in the state of delivery. But again, I want to avoid those terms as much as I possibly can to keep this as simple as I can this year. Perfect. Stunning. And if we take a buy right here, where are we going? to the previous structural high based on the time frame that we analyzed. We were on the 4 hour, and this was the structural high on the 4 hour. We do have micros. The micro is the same setup that we saw on a higher when we start seeing it on low. Like I could say, like, this is a structural high. This is a high. A structural high is right here. Let's say it being broken and comes back to test a certain high that formed the previous low, and I could buy it right here. Either way, but it's just a micro. Then we see that structural high right there, and that invalidation from the 4 hour. We see market break through or break out of that structure, which gave me hope that we are still going high. And we see it retracing all at once. But as it retraced, I expected to come to this invalidation zone right here. So when it comes to this invalidation zone, I'm going to put some markups on these zones so that we study them. I'm going to put one here. And I'm going to put one right here as well, so that we just study this. We just go as low as we possibly can in terms of time frame and just study them. Perfect setup right here. Perfect setup actually done. A pending order was perfect here. If you don't trust yourself that much, you could wait for this type of reaction. And I will teach these entries. And if you just by taking a look, there is not a difference between this and this in terms of reaction. Look at the setup. Look at the setup. There is not a difference between this and this in terms of reaction. So we're going to look into things. Let's go lower, a little bit lower, to some 15-minute time frame, just to observe what's going on. Just for the sake of observation, that invalidation, just one straight through. Imagine drawing one straight through line that you are very certain that price will come into respect. Those W's that we like to see. When you get your structure right, every strategy becomes correct. Because you have the structure. We see it right here. Structural high, structural low, structural high, low. Broken out of it, this becomes our invalidation. This becomes our structural high. Now, the lowest candle, or the previous high that forms the lowest, if we just mark it, just for the sake of marking it, look at what we have. Another perfect zone, which is exactly, so this is what we call a micro. We call this a micro. And if we look at this, we've seen this before. It's not the first time we see this. We've seen this before. Perfect. Nice looking, stunning stuff. And if I'm not having a pending order right here, I'm just manually market execution here on my MetaTrader, CTrader, whatever. I'm gonna take another look at again that invalidation before that structure, and we have it right here. We have it right here. Now let's take a look of a micro low high, a low right here. We have it breaking off. So what becomes of this? Invalidation. Now, if we take a good look, right? If we take a good look, we have this high right there. We have a low, then we have it break. The high that forms the previous high. If we just take a good look at this zone right here, another entry, where would enter? Okay, of course there was a lot of consolidation within this, but still it was respected. And I like looking into things. I like looking into the things that I've seen before, and I see them happening again. If I see this, I want to believe that I've seen it before. I see it for the second time. I've seen it before. I trust it. I believe in it. I could take another entry. Maybe I would consider this high, but why? I don't just consider things. I considered this because it was the previous high before the lowest. Now, in this case, I would consider right this one, right? I'll put my entry right there. I will have to endure some form of drawback, but market structure always wins at the end of the day. I'm gonna try to make it maybe yellow so that it's visible there. I don't know, whichever way, but we know that there is something here. Structural high, nicely taken. Price comes back to the what? To the high that forms the lowest low, and right there we have it. Pending order would have been a great idea. My pending order failed. I have that set up again, and I tried all the way up. I don't intend to make these videos too long, because less talking, more doing. Let's meet in the next video. I'm gonna speak the very same things, but with another asset. I'll try to look for a downtrend this time. Perfect.